You can feel the headline before the final whistle. Aaron Rodgers said this would probably be his last season, but he's also playing like he still has something left to prove. That contradiction is the whole story. Uh, X, formerly Twitter, Rodgers told Pat McAfee in June, "I'm pretty sure this is it." And he signed a one-year deal that made the message obvious. This was meant to be a clean, short chapter. Yet through 5 games, he's thrown 10 touchdowns against 3 interceptions and sits over 1,000 yards passing, production that has the Steelers 4-1 and suddenly a legitimate division favorite. The optics keep the hope alive. The words keep the exit door open. ESPN.com, here's the practical framing. Dan Graziano's quick take, a 5% chance Rodgers returns in 2026, feels about right. It's not zero because athletes change their minds and success tempts reconsideration. It's not large because Rodgers has repeatedly described 2025 as the likely capstone. That percentage captures the tiny real window where performance, health, and desire all line up again. ESPN.com. Why he might retire after this year. Age and agency. Rodgers turns 42 in December. He has already reached the mountaintop. MVPs, legacy moments, financial security. Saying this is it buys emotional closure and control. One more season, played on his terms in a stable locker room without a multi-year commitment, is the perfect exit strategy if he wants a graceful walk into retirement. X, formerly Twitter, why he might keep going. Fit, fun, and unfinished business. Pittsburgh is a tidy match for an aging star. Strong pass protection, good receivers, and a culture that has welcomed him. The one-year low-risk deal, reported in the media as around $14.15 million, gives Rodgers freedom. If the body and results say go, he can extend. If Rodgers still feels he can win, that temptation is real. ESPN.com, what Pittsburgh is juggling right now. Short-term momentum versus long-term clarity. If Rodgers retires after 2025, the team must accelerate a quarterback plan into 2026. Draft, trade, or vet room while trying not to lose the window this season. If he stays, the Steelers keep a high-level mentor and a quarterback who still wins games. Either way, the front office must plan for both, compete now and prepare for transition. The recent 23-9 win over the Browns under Rodgers' leadership crystallized the today argument. He's adding real wins. Reuters. There's also a roster reality. The Steelers invested in short-term stability by taking a veteran. They didn't mortgage the future with a long contract, which signals prudent construction. Play now, decide later. That's why the Graziano number isn't zero. The team is giving Rodgers the best possible backdrop to want to stay, while keeping the option to pivot if he doesn't. ESPN.com medical and physical truth matters more than narrative. Recovery and clearance get harder every year. Rodgers has had lower snap totals recently than earlier in his career, and recovery is simply slower. A late-season injury would complicate everything, both the emotional decision and the team's playoff hopes. That's why his body, not the hashtag, will be the ultimate decider. NFL.com for the Steelers coaches, the smart approach is obvious. Treat 2025 like an opportunity, not a guarantee. Maximize Rodgers' strengths with quick game plans, protect the pocket, and develop the backup quietly. Start laying the groundwork for 2026, whether Rodgers retires or not. Draft evaluation, free agent scouting, and a clear QB succession timeline. Win now, but don't run from the future. Reuters, for fans and fantasy players, enjoy the present, hedge the future. Rodgers playing well makes every game more exciting. But don't build a 2026 plan on his continued presence. The 5% number is small but meaningful. It exists so you don't confuse a brilliant short season for a multi-year commitment. ESPN.com, what to watch next week that will change everything. Rodgers' public tone after the season's midpoint, any off-season hints of energy or fatigue, and the Steelers' roster moves in January. If Rodgers keeps saying he's pretty sure and the team behaves like they'll need a replacement, that's likely the path. If he casually signals he's energized and the front office quietly structures around him, the odds inch upward. Either way, this is a conversation that will end with Rodgers' own choice and only his. X, formerly Twitter. Conclusion, in one sharp line you can drop at the top of a video, Rodgers has written the possible ending, and he's also still composing a brilliant chapter. The ultimate answer comes down to one private thing. Does he want to keep writing? X, formerly Twitter. Aaron Rodgers' season in Pittsburgh looks like a win-win short-term experiment. Great on the field, messy in the long-term decision column. ESPN's Dan Graziano put a number on it, about a 5% chance Rodgers returns to the Steelers in 2026, largely because Rodgers himself has repeatedly hinted this is his final year. Newsweek.com. Make no mistake, Rodgers has been very effective through 5 starts. He's thrown for 1,021 yards, 10 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions, is completing nearly 69% of his passes, and the Steelers sit at 4-1 entering Week 7, a start that would have looked improbable a year ago. Those facts explain why the Steelers' gamble feels validated right now. ESPN.com, still, the long view picture is simple arithmetic. Rodgers turns 42 in December. He signed a 1-year, $15 million deal, and he's publicly framed 2025 as his likely finale. Those two realities compress the probability that Pittsburgh can build a multi-year plan around him, which is exactly why Graziano's 5% number lands as realistic rather than cynical. If Rodgers wanted to keep playing, he could. History shows guys sometimes change their mind. But betting the franchise's medium-term future on that uncertainty isn't prudent. ESPN.com, there's also the performance nuance. Rodgers is playing well enough to win, but he's not the same physical profile he had at his peak. He's thrived by playing smarter, quicker reads, cleaner mechanics, high leverage accuracy, more than by sheer athletic explosiveness. That style fits in short bursts and on a roster with strong complementary pieces. It's less convincing as the foundation for a rebuild or long-term succession plan. NFL.com. So what should the Steelers actually be thinking? 3 practical options. 1. Treat 2025 as a 1-year boon and use the season to win now while quietly preparing for life after Rodgers by accelerating quarterback scouting and asset accumulation. 2. If Rodgers surprises everyone and wants to come back, negotiate a short-term rollover with clear opt-outs and contingencies, but don't let verbal hope crowd the draft board or cap planning. 3. If Rodgers exits, be ready to pivot quickly. Either promote an internal candidate if one emerges, or pursue a controlled veteran or rookie target in the offseason. The club's front office must value clarity over narrative. Reuters fan emotion will push for the sentimental route. Keep Rodgers forever. But smart roster building is clinical. The Steelers should enjoy the present. He's giving them very real value in 2025. At the same time, they must plan as if this is the last season of Rodgers in black and gold. That's the prudent baseline given age, contract structure, and his own comments. ESPN.com, bottom line. Rodgers is delivering the kind of play that makes championship windows open, but his stated preferences and age make a long-term stay extremely unlikely. The smart bet, and the one Graziano quantified, is to treat 2025 as a potential last hurrah and to build both to win now and to transition after it ends. Newsweek.com.